Shortly. Before that happens, we'll have everybody rise, and the service will begin momentarily. Thank you.
Rebbeinu Shel Olam, Master of the Universe, how can we be here today? Our hearts break with yours, Carol, Noah, and Eliza. I'm supposed to welcome Rabbi Emmert, and I don't think that I can welcome anyone to this tragic morning. I want to acknowledge your presence. Thank you for being here. I want to thank the cantors, our cantorial intern, the last of our beloved Ilan students for being here with us this morning. And I want to thank each of you for being here. Each of you. Thank you for daring to face with us this moment of tragedy and pain. I've been thinking a lot about the difference between the words, between being lonely and being alone. And if you've been in New York City for a minute, you know well that difference, that you can be surrounded by people and still be lonely. And today, each of us is lonely. Some among us has lost the love of their lives, husband, their father, the rock of their family. Some of us has lost a friend of over 30 years. Some of us has lost a Bima partner of 22 years. Some of us has lost a Bima partner of 4 weeks and 1 day. Each of us is lonely. A teacher, a leader, a mentor. How could this be? Rebbeinu Shel Olam, Master of the Universe, how could we be here today? The world is a lonelier place, a darker place today. I want us to start in a way that is not typical. I want to ask you to hold the hands of those around you, whether you know them or not. And I want you to look into their eyes, and I want you to say these two sentences. I see you, and I am here. I see you, I am here. If I can't welcome you into the sacred space, I want to say that I see you and that I am here. Perhaps we can find strength in this moment from our tradition that can't remember, nourished and helped to flourish through his lifetime, and music that inspired him and inspired us.
Esain el Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Esprit, Esain el Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oser Shamayim Va'aretz, Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oser Shamayim Va'aretz. Esa'enai Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, Esa'enai Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oser Shamayim Va'aretz, Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oser Shamayim Va'aretz, Esa'enai Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, Esa'enai Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri, Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oser Shamayim Va'aretz, Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oser Shamayim Va'aretz. I lift up my eyes up to the mountains, from there will help come. I lift up my eyes up to the mountains, from where my help will come. My will come from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth. Come from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. Esa'enai el Harim, Me'ayin Yavo Ezri.
There were certain readings that Cantor Member loved. This was one of the readings that he used to read at funerals. Togetherness. Death is nothing at all. I've only slipped away into the next room. Whatever we were to each other, that we are still. Call me by my old familiar name. Speak to me in the easy way which you always used. Laugh as we always laughed at the little jokes we enjoyed together. Play, smile, think of me, pray for me. Let my name be the house in the household word it always was. Let it be spoken without effort. Life means all that it ever meant. It is the same as it ever was. There's absolutely unbroken continuity. Why should I be out of your mind because I am out of your sight? I am but waiting for you for an interval, somewhere very near, just around the corner. All is well. Nothing is past. Nothing is lost. One brief moment, and all will be as before, only better, infinitely happier, and forever. We will all be one together.
We will continue singing Psalm 23, Adonai Roi, which is a song that our choirs, so dear to our beloved cantors, that our choirs would also offer. We're going to invite from your seats, if you are a member of any of our TBR, any of our Beth Rishon choirs, to rise and join the cantors in offering this.
Adonai roi lo echsar bin hehot asher yarbitzeini al mei menuchot Yinaleini Nafshi Shoveh Gam ki elech beget salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi Ta'aruch lefanai shulchan getzorai bishanta v'shemem roshi Chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai כל ימי חיי ושבתי בבית אדוני. אדוני רואי לא הקצר, אדוני רואי לא
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He guides me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my foes. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to reap, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to laugh, a time to weep. To everything turn, turn, turn. The season turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace, a time you may embrace, a time to refrain from embracing. To everything turn, turn, turn. Since the season turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven. A time to gain, a time to lose, a time to rend, a time to sow, a time to love, a time of hate, a time of peace. I swear it's not too late. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And a time for every purpose under heaven.
From the poet Chaim Nachman Bialik. Say this when you mourn for me. There was a man, and look, he is no more. He died before his time, The music of his life suddenly stopped. A pity. There was another song in him. Now it's lost forever. But the song is not lost forever, as I want to call Noah and Eliza and Cantor David Perper to come forward to sing some of the songs that he so loved.
Erev Shoshanim was an Israeli song that my dad loved. Many of you guys probably knew that. He especially liked, Savta Khan and Saba Arthur really loved hearing him sing it, and so he would sing it to them, and me and him and Saba Arthur would also, and then eventually Lisa, all four of us together would sing it in harmony, and it was really nice. I think we even did it 2 years ago in May for Saba Arthur's 102nd birthday here, down at the lectern right there. So we figured we would try to sing it and think of him. ערב שושנים נצאנה אל הבוסתן מור בסמים ולבונה לרגלך נפתן לילה יורד לאט ברוח שושן נשבה הבא אל חשלך שיר בלד זמר של אהבה לילה יורד לאט ברוח שושן נשבה הבא אל חשלך שיר בלד זמר של אהבה שחר הומה יונה ראשך מלא טללים פיך אל הבוקר שושנה וכתפנו לי לילה יורד לאט ברוח שושן נשבה הבא אל חשלך שיר בלד זמר של אהבה לילה יורד לאט ברוח שושן נשבה הבא אל חשלך שיר בלד זמר של אהבה זמר של אהבה זמר של אהבה
Our tradition teaches that gold was to be found outside of the sanctuary and inside the sanctuary, and it's easy to understand the importance of having gold outside as decoration, but our tradition teaches that what's inside is more important. And if we look at the simple casket of our beloved cantor, friend, father, husband, we know that what's inside is of immeasurable value, and it hurts that it's gone. The only thing that we can do from our despair and pain is to try to remember, try to bring back some of that gold into our hearts so that each of us can be part of this holy sanctuary that Cantor loved so much. And so we invite Rabbi Emmert to share with us some of the words to help us to claim and sustain and eternalize the beauty of Cantor's soul.
Dear family and friends, with stunning suddenness and no opportunity to prepare ourselves for the blow, the Mamber family, Carol, Noah, Aliza, the TBR community, and the community, the Jewish community as a whole, has been orphaned by the untimely death of our beloved friend, Ilan Mamber, who was an inspiration to us all. Some of us called him Cantor. Many of us called him Ilan, as he was never a man of pretense. We're all grieving the loss of this sweet singer of Zion. Our hearts go out to you, Carol. Our hearts go out to you, Noah and Aliza, and the entire extended family. We all grieve as one family, as Cantor Mamber touched each of us in his own and unique, loving manner. My heart aches as I lost a dear friend and a colleague, as I had the privilege and the honor of sharing 22 years with this amazing chazan, who broadened my knowledge of both Jewish music and taught me who Bob Dylan was. And while we grieve, we're still able to give thanks for having come into contact with this remarkable man. The Baal Shem Tov, the 17th century founder of Hasidism, once said that there are three ways to mourn: to cry, to be silent, and to sing. All of us have been crying for the loss of our dear man. The family and many of us have been silent in disbelief. But we all know that when the crying and the silence abate, the Baal Shem Tov tells us to sing. To sing. We must sing a great song for the privilege of knowing Ilan Mamber, a man who taught us the beauty of song and prayer, a man who opened our souls to the beauty of the synagogue. Words are the language of the mind, writes Rabbi Jonathan Sachs. Music is the language of the soul. We were uplifted by this talent, his love for music, both liturgical and secular. We were enriched as a congregation by the way he shared his gifts with us, whether it was on the guitar or the harmonica or the toph, or by including congregants who he would call up from the pulpit. He would call them to stand with him on the bima. Our synagogue experience was enriched by this spiritual and soulful human being. Rabbi Mark Angel writes that the root of deepest human sadness is embodied in the word separation. We feel the separation especially at moments of transition, when we say goodbye to a child who's leaving for college or moving out of town, when we say goodbye to a loved one whom we won't see for a long time, saying goodbye to a dying spouse, a parent or relative or friend must be counted among the saddest of human experiences. We all feel this sadness in knowing that we will no longer be able to be in his company. If there's one phrase that keeps coming out at me when thinking about Cantor Ilan, it's the verse that says, Uvacharta b'chayim, choose life. Choose life. Ilan was a man full of vitality and a man who loved life. Ilan Mamber taught us to follow our passion. Ilan Mamber taught us to live life with enthusiasm and zest. Ilan Mamber taught us that relationships matter, being there for people who love you the most, family and friends and colleagues who are there. Cantor Mamber taught us not to be afraid to challenge ourselves, as we can often be surprised how much we can achieve when we least expect it. Nothing was too much for Ilan Mamber, nothing. He could work a full day, sing with the preschoolers, teach bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, run to officiate at a shiva minyan, run to the synagogue to meet with a bride and groom, and then still play tennis or play go to see a play, attend the book club, and find time to go home and cook dinner. Nothing was too much for him. He loved life. He had a zest which cannot be matched as a cantor and as an individual. He had an indefatigable spirit. He exemplified the Torah in a command, Uvacharta b'chayim, choose life, love life, live life to its fullest. I spent a lot of time with Cantor Mamber, and I can tell you, he loved Carol with every fiber of his being. Nothing was too much when it came to you. She understood him best, and she knew how to handle him. She knew what to say, and he knew who was the boss. His children, Noah and Lisa, you guys made him so proud. He loved the persons that you had become. We would sit in my office and he would tell me each time how much he loved you, how proud he was of you. Not only are you intelligent, industrious, but the kinds of people that you've become are so wonderful. You made your dad so proud. This family was like the Van Trapp family. Singing with perfect harmony, singing with Arthur and Noah, the Hasidic Kaddish, or Eliza was singing B'Sefer Chaim. And then the Mamber Trio, Erev Shel Shoshanim, or Bob Dylan, or whatever the course, the Mamber group doing their rendition of Jonah on Yom Kippur afternoon. And they even got Carol to participate as well. No musical part, but a reading of the script was okay. Our Elon, your Elon, our Elon seemed indestructible. A cat has 9 lives. Elon had 15. From one surgery after another, limping here and there, nothing stopped him. He was a living example of resiliency. I would tell him, Elon, please go relax. I'll take care of it. He always showed up. He would be there. Nothing stopped him. He wanted to be there to share your simchas. He wanted to be there to grieve with you. He was more than Cantor Mamber. He was Elon, who loved the people of this congregation. He loved this temple with every fiber of his being. Your joy was his joy, and your pain was his pain. Nothing was too difficult for him. Nothing. What he would do when he came here in the morning till the wee hours of the evening, he locked up this building. Some of his greatest joys were training interns to be outstanding cantors. He was so proud of their achievement. Visiting them in Florida and California, New Jersey, he told me at the investiture, at the ordination, we sat together at Park Avenue Synagogue, and he looked at me and he said, Ken, we did good. We did good. And he didn't mean just Ken. He meant you. He meant everyone in this congregation. We did good. And I want to tell you that his first cantorial intern, Ben, is here from Sacramento. That tells you. And his other interns are here. They came to honor their mentor. They came here to work with him. He worked them hard, but they were better for it than no mentor had shepherded his students like Cantor Elon Mamber. The rabbinic interns loved him. He helped them. He helped them along the way. Elon demanded excellence from everyone with whom he worked. Mediocrity was unacceptable. He worked you till it was right. And you know what? In the end, I would hear congregants sing his praises because they felt proud of what he had done for them. His adult and bar bat mitzvahs of the past 31 years, students were numerous in their speeches lauding their teacher for encouraging them to study and brought him great pleasure. Cantor Mamber would insist on hearing any person chanting from the Torah. He couldn't care if you were the chief rabbi of Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, or Haifa. It made no difference. He had to sign off on it. And you know what? He was right. I stayed out of it. I stayed away. Cantor Mamber, you test every one of them. And when you met with Cantor Mamber, he had notes and materials which go back to Noah and the flood. Noah and the flood. He could tell you who did the Haftarah in 1911. He could tell you which kid was there. I'd say to him, Elon, these kids must be in college or graduate school now. You're going to get them back to do a Haftarah? It made no difference. He got on the phone, he made a phone call to them, and you bet your life he was here, they were here. But with all the fun and so many stories we can remember about this man, if you needed him for a wedding, if you needed him for an Ufraf, if you needed him for a baby naming, if you needed him to be there at the funeral, if you needed him for a Shiva Minyan, no matter where he was, you could count on him. You could count on him. He understood. Hineni, I'm here with you. Hineni, the wonderful people of this congregation, you cherished him, and he appreciated that. You made him feel valued. You stood with him and his family through the good times and the times that he needed you most. You stood with Carol and with Noah and Eliza and Hannah and Arthur, and you loved them with all your heart and with all your souls. You loved them not only as your cantor, but you loved him as your dear friend. Beth Rishon is an amazing congregation, and Cantor Elon Mamber and Rabbi Emmert knew that, and Reb Benny is seeing that each and every day. Dear friends and family, the man whom some believed was so stern at times, unmoved by emotions, is the same man who months before I was to retire sat in my office on that Friday night, and he looked me straight in the eyes, and he said to me, I'm really going to miss you. I'm really going to miss you. My heart melted as the tenderness was so genuine and so loving. It made me feel treasured and loved. I once told him while we were driving together, and God, did he drive me all around. He didn't trust my driving. He loved to drive. I said, in all my years with cantors, in all my years listening to them, no one can compare to him with his enthusiasm, his love, the inflection in his voice. And I looked at him and I said, I can tell you with no uncertainty that if I had to choose a team partner again, with all the mishugas and with all the things, I would want you. I would want you. Elon was my teammate. Elon was my partner, my dear friend for life, upon whom I could always count, on a man who would be there for me in both good times and bad. The man who was the Sabra, rough on the outside, was a caring and gentle with those whom he loved most, Carol and his children and his friends, the people with whom he worked. Dear God, Ribono Shel Olam, our Elon represented you well. When he stood in the back of the sanctuary and he chanted the beautiful prayer, Hineni, I stand before you, O God. I'm poor in deeds. May my words, my actions not affect this holy congregation in an adverse way. May my words, my melodies open heaven's gates and thus find favor in your eyes. Cantor Elon Mamber was our emissary before you, O gracious God, who recited those words at every prayer he said with such fervor, such love, with all his heart and all his soul. his soulful rendition opened the gates of forgiveness for us all. Dear God, Petach lanu sha'ar. Petach lanu sha'ar. Open the gates of heaven for our dear cantor Ilan Mamber, who you sent to us all, who you sent to his family, his friends, this holy congregation, and the Jewish community at large to make your name great. In the words of the psalmist, Mi ha'ish hechafetz chayim ohev yamim lirotov. Who is the man who has a zest for life, who makes a real difference with the life he's given, who uses his gifts and talents to do good by lifting the spirits of others? There are three ways to mourn: to cry, to be silent, and to sing. Dear God, the sweet singer of Zion, the sweet singer of Wyckoff, the sweet singer of Temple Beth Rishon will be at your side singing to you with all his heart and with all his soul, as we will remember him. May the soul of our dear Chazan, Ilan ben Aharon v'Chana Halevi, always be for a blessing. Amen.
We invite Noah and Eliza to share words and music with us.
I want to start off by saying I'm mad and frustrated to be here giving this speech. We shouldn't have to be eulogizing my dad right now. We all thought we had more time with him, and we wanted that time. He was the one who helped us through funerals, getting everyone organized, helping us strike the right tone, practicing songs with us to get them just right, as we just did in Florida with Nana, leading, being a source of strength, kindness, and comfort, not just for our family, but for all of you too. He was taken from us way too soon, and because of that, we're all at a loss. These are the words I chose, but I know they would be better had he been here to help edit them. And it's okay for all of you to be mad and frustrated too, even though there's no one to be mad at. If you feel like it, in the next couple days or whenever, please send us written remembrances of him to nmember227@hotmail.com. You can also ask us for the email again another time, just so that we can collect them. Obviously, I know we're all going to be talking and sharing a bunch in the next bunch of days, but it would be great all of you have already reached out so much as it is, and we've gotten so many great stories, and we'd love to just have those all together. My dad, Ilan Mamber, was an amazing person and affected the lives of so many. We loved him, and we will miss him so much. Much of his life revolved around sharing Jewish and Israeli culture with others, making beautiful, moving music because music moved him, seeking to help those in need, fighting for social change, and most importantly, showing those around him how much he cared about them, being so kind and generous with his time to them, especially with my mom, Eliza, and me. He was born in Bnei Brak in Palestine in 1947 to my grandparents, Savta Chana and Saba Arthur Mamber, who fled Germany and were able to avoid the Holocaust and came to Palestine and participated in the founding of the state, a year before Israel won its independence. He began his lifelong connection with Jewish music early, singing in Israeli choirs as a kid, including one with Saba Arthur. He had to perform his solos on a step stool so that the audience could see him. And the Israeli government still has one of his childhood liturgical solos on its official archives website. When he was 12 and a half, he moved to the Bronx and then Brooklyn, connecting again with his new country through music by singing in the musical The King and I in middle school and learning English from Desi Arnaz in I Love Lucy. Seriously. He was drawn in by folk and the protest culture of the 60s. He learned to play the guitar, and he actually wasn't allowed to attend his graduation at Erasmus High School because of his long hair and hippie look. At Brooklyn College, despite being a math major, y'all didn't know that, he focused on theater and surrounded himself with other actors and performing artists to create some great art. He also escalated his political engagement, protesting the Vietnam War in D.C. He just told us last Friday about running from tear gas at these protests. In the 70s, he continued to do theater, very far off Broadway, and acted in a troupe with Rhea Perlman and Danny DeVito. He loved to go see folk singers in the Village, and while seeing Arlo Guthrie at the Newport Folk Festival, he was memorialized as part of Guthrie's album cover photo, which is hanging in his office. He got his first master's in theater, and he wrote a fascinating thesis on the dark 17th century tragedy, "'Tis Pity She's a Whore," which was going a little slow until he met my mom, who inspired him to finish. In 1975, when working as a recreational therapist at the Manhattan Psychiatric Center, a mental institution, he met Carol Siegel in a staff meeting. While they were dating, she took their patients to see his play, and eventually she became his boss, although only for 1 day a week. During that time, he also saw Rabbi Shlomo Carlebach perform, and he was inspired by the way that the rabbi's music united Jews from different backgrounds, some of whom had not previously been Jewishly engaged. He internalized that lesson and began a side gig, sharing Jewish and Yiddish music with his audiences, often seniors, along with old standards and stories, whatever the crowd could relate to. This same instinct drove him to get a second master's in social work to work in JCCs and other Jewish communal institutions. It was a great fit as he got to share Jewish culture, provide entertainment, and serve those in need. In 1978, I was born, and that same love of Jewish culture moved him to try to name me Nimrod, or Dror. I was lucky that my mom fought for a name that wouldn't get me beat up and got me out of the hospital with the name Noah in time for the bris. I would thank her on Mother's Day every year for this. As a kid, I loved to go with him to his gigs, see him work the crowd, and learn to sing all the songs like he did when I wasn't hiding under the tables. Even when he had to work, he managed to include me and to make it fun. On the way there, we would listen to classic rock, and he would quiz me on the bands and the song titles to impress upon me the importance of knowing the canon. When I would whine and beg for a hint, he would eventually give me one, but only in Hebrew, so that he was teaching me both music and language at the same time. I might have whined more after getting the hints, but I eventually did guess the answers, like Floyd Varod. My mother and Eliza had the same experiences. In the mid-'80s, the person who led Rosh Hashanah services at Yale pulled out for Yom Kippur. Rabbi Ponet, who was there, scrambled, and when he called his friend Tzvi recommended my dad. He jumped right in, he learned everything, and led services days later. That's really impressive. I still remember reading the Bible in comic form in the first row that year, vaguely paying attention. Intrigued by cantoring, he decided to study with a private teacher, Noach Shaul, in Queens, and practice on his own while remaining a social worker. I've never heard of another modern cantor who taught himself and didn't go to a formal school. My parents couldn't afford to lose his social work income, but he wanted to be a cantor, so against all odds, he made it happen. He was eventually accepted by the Conservative Movement's Cantors Assembly and loved and lauded by his colleagues as a leader and a peerless musician. While Yale thought he was great and offered him a lifetime contract, my dad wanted to become a full-time cantor, his millionth career. May I be so lucky to be good at so many things. And he responded to a Jewish newspaper advertisement looking for a cantor who played guitar and knew nifty melodies. Nifty like the group, the youth group, but also sure, nifty. All of his previous work, his great sense of theatrics and the logistics and organization behind putting on performances, his understanding of people and their psychology, his desire to lead and comfort them, his strong political beliefs and commitment to Tikkun Olam, and of course his amazing voice and guitar playing, made this last career the perfect fit, and it showed over his 31 years here. He inspired so many to engage in Judaism in a way they never had, including many classes of adult bat mitzvahs, and he brought music into their lives. He painstakingly planned bar mitzvahs, weddings, funerals, inspired and mentored so many, and continued to share Jewish music throughout his life at cantors conventions, public Hanukkah candle lightings, and at my various schools, where he would come and sing in class. I just loved sitting cross-legged in the first row here at TBR, right in front of him, watching him lead Friday evening services every week for years after we moved to Jersey. As a father, he was everything I've said and more. As you may know, he was stubborn, a quality I clearly inherited. Mostly, though, because he was demanding excellence. It's funny, the rabbi and I chose a bunch of the same words on this, without being in communication. He demanded it from the health insurance customer service rep who wasn't doing his job, when he fought every traffic ticket in court, even when he was speeding, or when he got enraged at the PNC Arts Center staffer who refused to let us into a dead show he took me to with an umbrella during a torrential downpour. But he also demanded it when drilling his students so that they would be the best they could be and be able to look back and be proud of what they had accomplished. I was no different, and I still remember yelling at him and slamming doors as we argued about my bar mitzvah speeches. In the end, he was right, and I'm so glad he challenged me to do the whole bar mitzvah service. Same when I would practice singing or theater. He was really good at that stuff, and he helped me with love and constructive criticism to be the best performer I could be. I know he challenged many of you to take on new responsibilities you hadn't before, and helped you perform in ways you didn't think possible, too. And yet, I don't want you to think he was only the image that his more fearful bar mitzvah students had of him. What was great about my dad was that even with his intensity on certain topics, he was so cool and different and funny, and he loved to have fun, especially with his friends and us. I don't think there were any other leather jacket wearing, motorcycle riding, guitar playing cantors who snuck Tommy into the Ve'ahavta besides him. Okay, so I mean, maybe some of his clothes weren't that cool. We wanted to get him onto Queer Eye during its first run, really. But he did end up featured like a badass in the 201 magazine fashion issue, so. He always kept his Israeliness, and I liked how he called me Noach, and pronounced my friends' names, and made fun of my Americanized Hebrew pronunciation until I started saying words with a more proper Israeli accent, a habit I've continued with my own friends in Jewish a cappella group. He enjoyed being silly with us. I remember him many times sticking chopsticks in his ears in Chinese restaurants, and his eyes lighting up as he would do other goofy things in public, like asking the price in France with quel dommage, like what's the damage, and ribbing my mom until she would call him your father, or how he would play with the cats. Loved the cats. He inspired my politics, and I loved and admired how he constantly used his position to seek to lead his congregants and the community towards social justice, especially from the pulpit and in his newsletter messages. He immersed me in my Israeli heritage, which I'm so grateful for, and then became an advocate alongside me for a more moral Israeli state, joining me for an amazing J Street conference in DC. Though unlike me, he was always really great about not devaluing those he disagreed with, and he maintained friendships with his political opponents to this day, disagreeing agreeably. He was so great about letting me know he was proud of me, and he supported my having all these fakakta ideas, even if he wasn't gung-ho about each and every one. He continued to be willing to learn and change, again, even until today, which was such an amazing quality for a 70-year-old. Most of all, he cared so much about those around him, his family, friends, colleagues, and others he met along the way. He loved organizing celebrations, having his friends and family there, and basking in all of us coming together in love. Often he would lead us in song to bind us together, which was one of my favorite things in the world. and I've always thought it was so cool that I had a dad that did that. I still thought so, and I'm grateful that the last time I saw him was last Friday, when he led a big sing-along for my 40th birthday party with Mom and Eliza and my DC friends, so that everyone down there could share in the same magic and fun. We created new Thanksgiving traditions, adding Jewish prayers before the meal and singing Americana after, and even got other friends to participate. Back when I was a kid, we created a Hanukkah party with our Brooklyn friends that continues today, decades later, where he and I and others would lead hours of mostly classic rock singing with other friends jamming on their own instruments. This year's party was extra meaningful as we had just left Mom after her successful surgery, and we sang Hallelujah and thought of her and that she was coming home with us soon. Our annual Seder was the best I've ever attended, and is probably the longest Seder on the East Coast, like that of the rabbis of Bnei Brak who went all night because of all the joyous singing. He joined me on stage during law school for a cabaret to do Uncle John's band, and then we closed the night leading an all-star jam with everyone who participated in the event, bringing the house down with All on the Watchtower. Like we were at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Still, gatherings didn't need to be that elaborate for him to enjoy them. Even just having a simple barbecue with his friends, sitting outside, which he loved, was enough. His last text to me on Sunday was, "We just came back from dinner with Hedda at Nirvana, and it's beautiful just sitting on our front porch. Love you." While he was perhaps stingy when it came to tipping, he was so kind and generous with his time. Most of all with Mom, Eliza, and me, but also with his congregants and friends, and even those he didn't know very well, such as sometimes we reminded him, "Don't answer the phone, you don't always have to be available." He ignored us. I loved playing tennis with him so much. Every time I came home and the weather was nice enough, we would try to play. Do you know in all those years, through my throwing my racket on the ground phase and when I got pretty good with lessons, that I never took a set off of him? I got to 5-5 and 6-6, but I never managed to beat him. I'm sad that I won't get the chance to continue losing and having fun and getting good exercise with him. Really though, he was down to do whatever we found interesting because he just liked to spend time with us. He would take Mommy to plays and music shows she liked and great dinners. We all had amazing times playing Jewish Brain Teaser, Rummy Cube, and especially Scrabble with Saba Arthur, which we did in the rehab facility just before Saba died. We loved to hike High Mountain and Ramapo Lake together. He would take me to the US Open and the Mets and lots of musical theater, sparking my lifelong interest. We would always go in the hot tub when I was home, where he would just let me ramble on about the US men's soccer team, even though he didn't really care about it that much, just because he knew I did. He even joined me for a boring 0-0 draw at a bar in Florida, where we were visiting Nana in January, and he didn't really like bars. He would take me to the Jewish Book Fair and many other fairs when I was a kid, and I would get to see him with these fascinating performers and artists he worked with. He taught me at a young age about good film and theater, and gave me a taste for all types of music. And he loved to go to museums with Eliza and me, again, about whatever topic we wanted. And he would immerse himself in the experience and learn something new, always bringing his interesting perspective. We did lots of museums in DC that way. That's what we did last Friday before the party. And I can't believe we won't get to go to another one with him. Of course, he surrounded me with his love of books throughout my life, so that I valued reading and knowledge. What may have been most amazing was his willingness to drive and visit Eliza and me, wherever we were, no matter what. He came to classes with me at Yale and Cornell, traveled to Oakland and DC, visited Eliza in Cairo, sang at my Jewish a cappella rehearsals, and he just wanted to do with me whatever I was doing. He was generous like that. If someone needed him, he would make it happen. He would help so many people in so many ways, and he didn't ask for anything back but respect. He definitely received that respect, and all of you here today are testament to that. Dad, it's hard to say goodbye to you. We miss you, and we love you so much. Thank you for everything.
By the way, before I start, if anyone's curious, the Rolling Stones are Ha'avanim Hamitgalgelot in Hebrew. That one came up a lot. Okay. My mom reminded me last night that during my bat mitzvah speech, less than a year after his first heart attack, I remarked that I couldn't imagine being there without my father. Well, now he's making me give a speech in front of people again, and I can't imagine how I'm going to get through it without his support. It feels like someone has ripped out a huge chunk of my heart, and I wish that he would come back and take the rest of it, because then maybe it wouldn't hurt so much. He was my rock, like the rabbi said. I could always count on him for anything I needed or even wanted. Unlike a rock, he was not good at staying still. There always had to be some activity, even if we were on vacation. We visited countless museums together, like the MoMA, Library of Congress, and even one last museum in Rome that the two of us hit while Noah and my mom stayed in the hotel before we had to head to the airport to fly home. I found my favorite piece of art from that whole family trip to Italy in that museum. He took me on at least one of his long motorcycle rides with Hillel's Angels, and my cousin Faith here remembers too. I was the only one in the family who enjoyed going on a motorcycle with him. He even used to pick me up from high school on it. That probably helped raise my coolness quotient a little bit. We loved going hiking or walking together, of course with Noah too, even if it was just around the Franklin Lakes Reservoir. Sometimes the activity was just sitting together and playing a game, like Scrabble with Saba Arthur, Trivial Pursuit, Jewish Brain Teaser, or Sheshbesh, the Hebrew word for backgammon. And that's what he called it. And that's why I always think of the Hebrew word first, because he kept trying to teach me how to play, and I kept forgetting. I did better at learning how to play chess, but after a while, I refused to play with him anymore because I hate to lose. I wish now that I had said yes to more of those games. My dad was not subtle. You always knew how he felt about you. And for everyone here, especially his family, those feelings were of love and respect. If you said that you felt like you were getting a cold, he was the first one to tell you to go to a doctor. You would not have wanted to be the person next to him, sitting next to him during a Mel Brooks movie, because if you were going to get hit when he laughed so hard he smacked your thigh instead of his heart. He appreciated fine cinema, but his favorite movie was Blazing Saddles, and he took me to see Robin Hood Men in Tights in theaters before I was old enough to understand most of the jokes. He made it very clear how proud he was of knowing me, there's no question, no matter how small the accomplishment. One of my worst memories, at least until Tuesday morning, is of the accident I got in 6 days after I got my license. It was the first time I was driving alone at night, and I discovered that I lose a lot of depth perception in the dark. My dad came to pick me up, and of course he was mostly just relieved that I was okay. But when we were almost home, and I was bawling about how it was all my fault, he explicitly told me that he was proud of me for taking responsibility for my actions. Those words have had a profound effect on me to this day. Although he was always proud of me, he also pushed me to go farther, to do more, because he knew I was capable of it. And when I was uncertain about taking a big step, like applying for a new job, he drew from his own experiences to give me helpful advice about making sure I was doing what I loved, not just making money. Of course, if we disagreed about what I should do, then we got to match wills. Like when he tried to help me with my math homework, remember, math major. Or tutor me for my bat mitzvah. We had the same screaming Noah did, if not more. And then God in heaven, the one time he tried to teach me to drive a stick shift. Just one time. Some of you may know that Noah and I inherited a translocated chromosome from him. We call it the stubborn Israeli singing chromosome. I probably come in second in the family for stubbornness, but no one, except my grandfather, came close to my dad. I'm sure many of you encountered this aspect of his personality yourselves, but those arguments never lasted too long, and he was always quick to forgive me. I told you about one of my worst memories earlier. Now I'll tell you about one of my favorites. He took me to Brooklyn not long before I went abroad for my junior year, so I could say goodbye to Saba Arthur and Sabta Chana. After spending time with them, we stopped for pizza at Tafara on Avenue J. We got to see the old man making the pizzas by hand and his granddaughter at the register, My dad told me about how he used to see the same old man when he was young, back when the pizza cost 10 cents a slice. Defara has been written up by Zagat as having the best pizza in New York City, which, means that thanks to my dad, I've had the best pizza in the world. He was always eager to learn about new subjects or expand his knowledge of those he was familiar with. I remember him talking to me about the rabbinical courses he took decades after becoming a cantor, and coming to both my and Noah's Arabic classes in college and finding similarities between Arabic and Hebrew. He even came to some of my linguistics classes and enjoyed them. The last time I talked to him, he called to tell me how much he was enjoying listening to a CD of traditional Portuguese music. You heard some too? That I had gotten him while traveling a few months ago. I wish I had given it to him earlier so that he would have had time to listen to the whole CD. So we have a tradition related to birthday cards in our family. You get a serious card, a silly card, and one from the cats, which, yes, is separate from the silly one. I bought his cards early this year, and I wanted to share them with you, because what else am I supposed to do with them? Here's the one from the cats. And, sorry, hold on, it needs to open. The silly card is all about, I know how you love a bargain, so I got you this cheap card. I didn't even have to haggle. If you knew my dad, you probably know how much he loved a good deal. Even if the cost of the gas required to drive to the 5th grocery store to get that deal was more than the money he saved. I think my dad would have been particularly pleased with the cards this year, because the reason I bought his card so early was because I had a coupon. So, the serious card says, Dad, today is a celebration of the gift you are to the world. Hope you'll spend your birthday smiling, knowing in your heart how very much you're loved. I think that message applies to what we're doing here today, too. Now, for all of these cards, except the one from the cats, I would add a personal message, and I would translate at least the salutation and close into Hebrew. Ve'aba hayakar, ve'ahava, Aliza. Dear Daddy, love Aliza. He complimented my handwriting in Hebrew every time. He was glad that all of that Jewish education had stuck. This is sort of the last card I'll get to give him. So again, ve'aba hayakar, ve'ahava, Aliza. As Noah mentioned, my dad didn't ask for much. The one thing he wanted, that always made him Shep Nachas, was me and the family together singing. That's why I got up here year after year to sing B'Sefer Chaim and whatever other prayer he wanted me to try, because it made him so happy. He deserved to be happy because he gave us so much. So Daddy, I'm trying to make you happy one more time, and we'll sing for you.
As many of you also know, he really loved Bob Dylan, like a lot. I feel like he was like his, one of his sort of musical and poetic inspirations. And so we wanted to sing Forever Young. He didn't sing this so much throughout his life, but I feel like more recently he was really into it. And he just sang it for me for my 40th birthday party at the party, like to sort of open it, and sang it to me, and it was really sweet and awesome, and yeah. May God bless you and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young, forever young, forever young. May you stay forever young. May your hands always be busy. May your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change and shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. Forever young. Forever young. May you stay forever young. And he would sing that to me, obviously, urging me to live that way, but obviously that was the way that he lived.
We invite Tzvi, whom I'm instructed to call not only a friend, but more like a brother. We invite Tzvi.
My name is Tzvi Rappaport. I knew my friend Ilan for 40 years, and we had an incredible way of communicating. I played the accordion, arthritis does not allow me anymore, and he played the guitar, and from the very first moment I met him, it was magic. We rehearsed very little. We didn't need to, because somehow we knew what we were doing. And we never did the same song ever twice the same way. I don't know why. Carol, thank you for allowing me to do this. It's very difficult to say goodbye to a friend. Of all the songs that we did, there's so many of them, somehow this one seems to touch me the most. I sang it coming here, and I heard my friend's voice in my mind harmonizing with me. It's very meaningful, and it has a lot of meaning to me. I'm not going to even translate it. The two words say it all. It says Yedid Nefesh, my soulmate. And this is my way of accompanying my friend to Ha'av Arachaman, a merciful Father. I hope I can do it. Yedid Nefesh Av Rachaman, Yedid Nefesh, Av Rachaman, Meshochavedecha, El Retzonecha, Meshochavedecha, La 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 El Retzonecha, Yarutz Avedecha, Kemo Hayal, Yishtachave la 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 Elemula Hadarecha, Yeravelo, Yedidotecha, Mina Fetsuf Koledan, La 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 Vecholetam, Yedid Nefesh, Av Rachaman, Yedid Nefesh, Av Rachaman, Meshochavedecha, El Retzonecha, Meshochavedecha, La 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 El Retzonecha. Shalom Chaver.
There are three crowns our tradition teaches: the crown of priesthood, the crown of Torah, of wisdom, and the crown of royalty. But crown of a good name, Keter Shem Tov, surpasses them all. Recently, going over services for the High Holidays, Cantor shared one of the most dramatic moments of the High Holidays, and as you heard, he was a very dramatic person. So he shared this that he used to do when he would daven the Hamelech during the service. He would sit down. He would come from the bima and sit. Why? Hamelech Yoshev, he says. The king sits. So for a moment I remember thinking, Cantor, I think they mean the king. Not you. But here's the thing. As always, Cantor was right. He was talking about his Keter Shem Tov, his crown of a good name. He was unique. There never was, nor there will ever be anyone that can even claim to be slightly like our beloved Ilan. He represented the unique, unprecedented, amazing point where heavens and earth come together. An angel, where metaphors and notes come together to inspire the heart beyond the capacity of the heart to express anything. He himself was not the king, but he was able to move us, to connect us with this cosmological energy, call it what you may, in a deep, authentic, and caring way like no one else can. His crown was not a crown of a good name. His crown was not even a crown of a great name. His was a crown of an outstanding name, of an outstanding soul. Heavens and earth coming together through notes. And now that soul is gone. That soul has gone to heaven, hopefully to bring the heavens a much more musical eternity. Hopefully Ilan is singing next to his beloved father Arthur again, making heaven a much happier place. Heaven is a much more beautiful place today. Earth is darker. Holy friends, there is nothing that we can do to make up for this devastating loss. Amelech Yoshev, the one who had the crown of an outstanding name, is now gone. But here is my commitment to you, to each of you and to our beloved Ilan. My job, every breath that I take from now onward, will be a way to strengthening Ilan's hard work, his infinite love for Judaism, and for Beth Rishon. Ilan will remain the cornerstone of our community, but that crown is now ours to carry, to continue to increase the spirituality of our community, of Bergen County, of Beth Rishon, of our families. The show is not over, and as we know from our cantor, music always lasts a little longer than you think. His legacy will last an eternity, and I promise that to you, to his family. It is upon us to strengthen one another, to hold each other tighter than ever, to hold our loved ones tighter than ever. The truth is that we need you, and I shared this on Tuesday night. People ask, what can I do? And we want to do, and there's nothing to be done because our beloved cantor is gone. The only thing that you can do, as I said, and I say again, is the most important thing, which is to be here, to be present. Never ever attend services here again. Be present at services. Be present through music, through words, through your whole being. This community is and will remain Ilan's community. Through our grief, we will hold each other. Carol, Noah, and Eliza, you've lost your rock. I have absolutely no idea, nor claim to have any idea of how you feel right now. No one else can. Unexpectedly, you lost your beloved husband and father. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be upset. Crying is a virtue, not a weakness. And we are crying next to you. When I first saw Carol after this tragedy, Carol's concern was who would carry the kidden litter up the steps. Carol, you say the word and I can get you 500 people to carry your litter up the stairs. And we also commit to wait for you to say the word. We will respect your privacy and your family's unit. You shared Ilan for over 30 years with us. We will be with you to the extent that we can and that it's helpful, but just to that extent. And you will remain part of our family at Beth Rishon, as Ilan will ever be as well. And so, holy friends, we are faced with a question, where do we go from here? And that's not the time to ask. But the options are despair or community. And today we despair. Today we cry. Today we hurt. With time, we will respond with community. We need you here. Our beloved cantor carried the crown of an outstanding name, and we now have to carry that forward, but not today. And that means you, Carol, Noah, and Eliza. That means each of you here, I see you and I am with you. I will always be here for you. I will always be here for the sake of Ilan's legacy and for carrying his legacy forward into our beautiful, sweet, and fruitful future, although the world is darker. I am here, I see you. And cantor, Amelech HaYoshev, we are assured to know that a part of you will always remain here. Now sei gesund, my friend. May the heavens be more colorful with your presence there. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May the memory of the righteous be for blessing.
We're going to continue with a beautiful arrangement of Eli, Eli. And if I may, Rabbi, just for a moment, on behalf of, unofficially I should say, on behalf of all the cantors here, and there are many, on behalf of the Cantors Assembly and the American Conference of Cantors, we have lost a dear friend and a bright, bright light for all of us, that we will carry that light with us. The only other thing I would like to say is, I am here with a few of my congregants from Beth Haverim Shir Shalom, but we are all here with you, and we will stay that way. And every congregation that was touched with Ilan's performance, either in liturgy or in concert, they are all here with us too. Thank you.
If your heart inspires you to make a donation, In memory of Cantor member, the family suggests that you direct your donations to the Jewish Family and Children's Services of Northern New Jersey, to the National Yiddish Theater Folksbeam, or to the Arthur and Hannah member Memorial Music Fund here at the Temple Beth Rishon. I have written down to say Hannah and not Hannah. We continue with this heartbreaking and horrible mitzvah of laying our cantor to his eternal rest with interment right after the conclusion of our services at Cedar Park in Paramus. Shiva will be observed here at the synagogue today from 3 to 5 and from 6 to 9 with a service at 7:30. Saturday from 6 to 9:30 with a service at 8:30. Sunday from 1 to 4 and 6 to 9 with a service at 7:30. And Monday and Tuesday from 6 to 9 with a service again at 7:30 each night. As we conclude the service, the family will escort the casket into their car. Please be mindful that although we all hurt, they hurt the most. Let's make sure that they are able to smoothly move through the sanctuary and into their cars. We hope that you will join us for Shiva here at some point to express your condolences at that time. We also ask that if you are not following to internment and are parked here, that you exit after the family does, so that the police can coordinate our procession into the cemetery safely. And as I mentioned, the most important thing that we need is for you to be here, more than ever. Please rise.
רחמים שוכן במרומים המצא מנוחה נכונה תחת כנפי השכינה במעלות קדושים וטהרים כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת החזן אילן בן אהרון וחנה לוי שהלך לעולמו בגן עדן תהא מנוחתו רחמים הסתירהו בסתר כנפיך לעולמי וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו אדוני הוא נחלתו וינוח בשלום על משכבו ונאמר